You know, how can you live in a place teeming with history for a relatively long period of time, but never see the attractions that draw tourists to your community? Well, I finally went to see the biggest attraction in my town here in the Philippines. Stick around and I will show you the very origins of the Philippines' independence on display right here in Malolos City, Bulacan. Class is in session. Today we have a little history lesson, and it's about the Philippines' first major step toward self-rule after several hundred years of colonization and often brutality at the hands of its outside rulers, including the Spanish and, yes, I'm sorry to say, the Americans. This is the site of one of the major developments in the Philippines' political history. The Barasawayan Church in Malolos was the site where what was called the Political Constitution of 1899, known informally as the Malolos Constitution, was hammered out to create the first Philippine Republic. A lengthy debate raged inside the four walls of this church during the latter half of 1898, before finally being ratified and signed by 198 delegates in 1899. This occurred with the backdrop of the Spanish-American War, when on May 1, 1898, American forces defeated the Spanish in the Battle of Manila Bay. Revolutionary leader Emilio Aguinaldo, who had been exiled in Hong Kong, was returned to the Philippines, where he issued the Philippines Declaration of Independence, depicted in the museum with this exhibit. Aguinaldo later became the nation's first president. Even before you enter the church or its attached museum, visitors can view Aguinaldo's horse-drawn carriage. The document itself is written in Spanish, which was the official language of the time, and was composed of 101 articles. Inside the museum is this diorama that depicts the principal leaders at the signing of the Constitution, which occurred in the sanctuary of the church. This site was chosen because in the late 1800s there were simply no other structures large enough to accommodate the delegates. Ironically, the Malolos Constitution is not the first constitution to be written and ratified. In 1897, the Constitution of Biak Nabato was ratified, but it was never fully implemented. Interestingly, the guiding principle of the Malolos Constitution was the retroversion of the sovereignty to the people, which is a pretty big deal for people who had been under the thumbs of faraway countries for centuries. The Philippines' path to sovereignty was strewn with bloodshed, however, as both political and military leaders lost their lives, as depicted in these two exhibits. Jose Rizal, pictured here, was assassinated by the Spaniards, his death galvanizing the revolution, and Rizal is now regarded as a national hero. The bloodshed continued and involved both the highest society and the common man, but finally independence came. That attitude of sovereignty and patriotism persists today, with the country steadfastly resisting incursions of Chinese vessels in the West Philippine Sea, and with its open acts of patriotism. Many malls in the Philippines open with a prayer followed by the playing of the national anthem. Everybody stops what they're doing and stands at attention. You won't see anybody kneeling here. The Brasoayan Church still holds Mass today. In fact, on the day that I arrived to take the tour, I had to wait for the conclusion of a funeral. The beauty of the sanctuary is matched only by its importance in the Philippines' history. Looking at the altar, which was covered with cloth for the signing, I can almost see those patriots in 1899 giving a free Philippines its start in life. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson, and if so, consider subscribing to my channel, hitting a thumbs up on my videos, and by all means, I would love to see your comments. Class is dismissed.